Hello, my fluffy tomatoes. I often get overwhelmed when hearing about the extracurriculars that people who got into the top universities did in high school. And I was curious about how they actually found the leadership opportunities and made things happen that didn't have to happen. So I spoke to a couple of them, and they were very cool people, and they gave me a lot of useful tips, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
So I think I kind of had two different like major interests, which was psychology and just yeah, like poetry and reading. I started my own club. It was a poetry club called the Dead Poet Society, modeled after the movie. I did that in my junior year, so last 2 years I did that. I was an intern in this app called Teen Talk, where you basically, are a peer advisor to other teens, and it's help them out with whatever issues they're having. You basically just respond to like posts on like a forum, like it's an app. People write text messages and you respond in text messages, simple like that. You're trained with a clinical psychologist, which is really really cool. So there's that. It's important also to like try out stuff, because like my freshman year, that's what I did. Like I tried out a bunch of different stuff. Some stuff I stuck with, some stuff I didn't. I was the co-president of the MUN club because my school we had one my freshman year, but then everyone stopped doing it. So then I brought it back with my friend. I did that all 4 years. MUN all 4 years. I did speech and debate all 4 years, and I was president of that. I was in a club called Cool Be Kind, which is an anti-bullying club. I was in that for all 4 years, community service club. I worked with like a UCLA professor to make like a textbook about cryptocurrencies and how to finance with them. It's important to explore. That's also something really solid.
My first startup was this carpooling app. And so essentially, to keep it short, the company's name was Gopul. And Gopul is a mobile app that helps parents in Dubai find carpools to school with other parents who live in the same area as them. So, if you live in a neighborhood, Gopul would, and you go to a certain school, you go to school X, Gopul would find other people in your neighborhood who were also traveling to school X at the same time that you were, and were also had kids that they needed to drop. And so instead of you both going on separate rides, Gopul would say you could carpool with each other. And so we helped parents find each other in those neighborhoods as potential carpool partners, and we also helped them schedule carpools. So that was my first company. It was a very standard process, I guess. I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time raising money because I didn't have access to that money on my own. I couldn't spend my own money. I really have. Yeah. I raised a lot. I raised as much money as I could. Use that money to like pay for the development of the app, and so like things like buying an API and hiring professional designers and stuff. And so I was able to build a team with the money that I raised, and then I spent a lot of time raising money, tested it with a lot of parents, did a lot of market research, and launched it. Was successful in a way. And I ended up working with a couple of bigger transportation companies to help me take this to like a different level. So I guess that was my story with Gopul. My second startup was this software called Privacy. And so Privacy essentially was like an artificial intelligence software that scanned privacy policies and found data risks within them. So before you signed up for a website, what Privacy would do is it would summarize the privacy policy for you so you could read it before you clicked accept. That was the purpose of it. The purpose was to highlight to a user, this things that they might not know about that are happening in the background of websites. And so it was very much a social cause of like, promoting data rights and like, ensuring people had data protection in some respect, because nobody really reads 200-page documents. They might read a small paragraph that's automatically summarized, right? So that was the project with Privacy. And so a lot of that was very technical. And so a lot of my time, even today, it goes into like, the development process, like, the core technology behind it. Obviously, like, I'm not doing this on my own. Like, I'm not really all that well versed in AI, at least yet. Hopefully, by the time I graduate, I will be. But yeah, so I'm working with the team on that, and like, they're much smarter than me, so I'm getting I'm getting the better end of that deal.
The past summer, what I did was I did a lot of volunteering for the years before that at homes where people are like differently abled, so they need help. So there I would volunteer, and then they would have fashion shows, and I would help out with that. What I did was basically did more research and more interviewing, and I created adaptable garments. So what that means is like instead of I guess like your usual buttons or your hook and eyes in your regular clothes, what I did was I replaced them with magnets and decorative buttons, and then I did like Velcro, like thicker zippers so it's easier to go up and down. Basically, I reimagined and revamped what clothes would look like, especially with the target audience I had in mind. And then with that foundation, I built a very, very mini collection. I think like 6, 7 garments. And then I created a website off of that. And then I made a website where I could sell the products, but that wasn't the purpose of my project to make money. It was more to get my idea out there and just and show people in the industry that like this is lacking. We need more designers who design and think for everyone, not just the abled, like physically healthy girls and boys.
I worked a lot with my friend Joey on like mental health awareness and things like that. So we set up like a student peer tutoring or peer counseling, group, which would meet with students one-on-one and like basically counsel them. And I think that was something I was really proud about, and I was proud to talk about it.
How did you come up with the idea of doing mental health like counseling?
Yeah, well, so it was really interesting actually, because my freshman year, I joined a group called Students Who Care, which it's like school-wide mental health. It's basically just like, helping students, things like that. I thought it would be interesting. I thought it would be a good thing to do. And that year they talked about doing like student listening and like peer counseling and things like that, but it didn't get approved. And so Joey and I pushed until our senior year, literally, to get it approved and get it going. And we did actually, which was a really nice thing to do.
That's crazy. Wow. So you basically just pushed through when no one wanted to allow you to do it?
Yeah. Our biggest resistance was actually the administration that trying to, push it through, because they had a lot of, concerns. And I mean, I get it. You have to make sure your students are safe as well, and it's not like you're counseling them in the wrong things. But we pushed through, we made some compromises, things like that, and it worked out, which I'm very proud about.
I was doing like all these different plays for school, but then I was also, in addition to that, doing like student-run theater things, and then I did theater things over the summer. The first role I had was Nick Bottom in Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream. And, what had previously just been something that I liked and happened to be, decently talented at. And I think was when I actually fell in love with it. Because, not only, interacting with the cast, but, I found that like work, like, when you find something where like working on it is enjoyable and, like being pushed and, it, and even when it's difficult, you derive so much satisfaction out of that, even when it's most frustrating. I think that's a pretty good sign that you should keep doing that thing. And that's what I ran into throughout the rehearsal process for that role. And sort of, and after that, it really took off. I did the play, the school play every term after that. I also wrote and directed my own things for student-run things. I did a full stage version of this '70s horror movie by Roman Polanski called Rosemary's Baby, some comedy sketches. I was sort of able to combine my two interests, acting and my what had been my best subject, English writing. Another thing that I sort of associate with theater is I had a radio show on campus, again, going to a place like Exeter, really lucky to be able to have, things like that. But I had a talk radio show about football. And I think, what you have to do is sort of like recognize, you have to see your interest in a more general way. So, rather than me saying, I am an actor, it's like, no, I'm a performer. So that doesn't only, apply to, getting up on stage and acting in a play. That can apply to things like the radio station. And, what do I like about acting? I like the scripts. I like conveying, what the playwright has written to the audience. So I like writing too. Oh, that happens to be, like that happens basically to be my favorite class, English and writing for English class. So, from there, I became the humor editor at the school newspaper.
Both of my parents are swimming coaches. So I don't remember actually when I started swimming.
So it's a family
thing. When I fell down into water at the age of 2, probably, or 3 maybe. And then I started swimming professionally at the age of 7. And yes, I've been swimming till now.
Wow. And how much training do you do?
So 10 practices a week. You asked me about how I managed to to combine education with swimming career. So I've been studying in the College of Olympic Reserve. It's like the place for professional swimmers. And we study there, and then we go to the practice, and we return, then we have the education once again.
They really want to see some aspects of, leadership and involvement with the community. Because if you have those qualities, they believe that if you are going to continue to be that type of person, that's the qualities that you will bring to their campus. So that's what they're looking for.
In this episode, Alice has learned that extracurriculars are a chance for applicants to show their passions, leadership abilities, and teamwork abilities outside of the academic requirements.